Today, I'm going to be giving you a few quick tips to show you how to make your programmed or MIDI drums sound more human and realistic. First of all, I think it goes without saying that the easiest and most efficient way of making your MIDI drums sound human is to actually have a drummer play the parts on an electronic drum set. Who would have thought? Or you could program your drums yourself. In today's digital age of people recording in their homes or project studios, not everybody is going to have the means or luxury to have a nice big treated room, an acoustic kit with all these mics, so you could use an electronic drum kit. That still leaves one major problem though: finding a drummer. Let alone finding a drummer that's good enough to play the parts that you want for your song. At that point, you can turn to programming your own MIDI drums. I want to preface all of this with just this one little thing to plant into your head, and that is, think like a drummer. When it comes to making your MIDI or programmed drums feel more human-like or more realistic, you need to think like a drummer. We'll get more into what that entails, but I think that applies to everything that I'm going to be talking about here. Which leads us into tip number 1. Don't be Goro. If that reference just whoop went right over your head, it's okay, I understand. Goro was a character in Mortal Kombat. He had 4 arms and 2 legs.
Hello, I am Prince Goro. Bye.
Last time I checked, a human drummer does not have 4 arms. They usually, in most cases, have 2 legs, and they have 2 arms, unless you're what's his face from Def Leppard. The moral of this is simple. Program things that are physically possible. Don't program something that can't physically be played. You can't hit 3 cymbals, clasp on your hi-hat while doing a double kick and hitting snare all at the same time. It's physically not possible, and that is a dead giveaway that you have programmed your drums. So, once again, think like a drummer. Could someone actually play this? Don't be Goro.
See my greatness.
Tip number 2, velocity. This one is very, very important. This also falls under the umbrella of thinking like a drummer. How would a drummer play these things? The hi-hat being the highlight. Those 8th notes in between have a lighter touch. Otherwise, you basically have trap hats. Most drummers are right-handed, which means that their right hand and their right foot are the power side, right? Power hand, power foot. This means that the first hit or the first kick is going to be significantly more powerful, have a higher velocity. So if you're doing a double kick pattern, that left foot is going to be slightly lower in velocity than the right. Same thing with snare fills or toms. That right hit is going to be a little stronger than the left. Once again, I can't emphasize enough how important hi-hat velocity work is. That is the number 1 dead giveaway that, hey, these drums are fake. They're so fake. This guy couldn't even bother to change the velocity. Now it's up to you as to how far you want to take this. Me personally, I'll go through and adjust the velocities on basically everything. All of my fills, all of my hat work especially. And then I'll also go through, and because we're after a human feel, humans are flawed. Nothing is going to be perfect. So I go through and I add flaws. I add a random mishap rim shot. I will slightly, this isn't technically velocity, but I'll slightly nudge things off of the grid just to add that human aspect.
We have purposely trained him wrong, as a joke.
Another thing to keep in mind with velocity is the faster the track, the higher the BPM, typically the lower the velocity will be. Because if you're playing really, really fast, a drummer cannot hit with his full power, regardless of what some death metal band audition videos might show you.
No way. Again, nothing. Big snare, nothing. He posted the raw mix.
That's a whole nother discussion. You get into gravity blasts and blast beats and even ghost notes. Ghost notes, make sure you play with the velocities and it actually sounds like a ghost note.
Boo. Bitch, I'm a ghost.
As a quick side note though, I do want to throw this in. It seems like modern metal is kind of an outlier in this, because at the end of the day, the final product, no matter whether it was played by an actual drummer or they were programmed, those drums tend to sound like velocities cranked to 127 all the way, and they're fake.
I don't usually do this because it sounds less natural, but their drums sound so processed. I find it sounds more like Architects if you just ramp the volume up to an inhuman level of volume. Like, no one hits that hard every time, but
that is the genre. If that's what you're going for, still focus on the hi-hat, please. But in most cases, in most genres, these are the kind of things that you're going to want to do. Now, with a human being playing the drums, you have a natural push-pull. It's like a tempo fluctuation. This one, number 3, tempo track automation, is even kind of new to me. I don't know about other DAWs or how they handle it. I use Cubase personally, and we have the tempo track. Even though everything is on a grid, it's tied to the tempo of the session. That tempo track is essentially an automation line that you can adjust. So I will do exactly that. I'll go in and adjust that tempo track. Especially in choruses, this is something that producers do with live drummers as well. In the chorus, you bump it up just a little bit, and it adds a little bit more energy, a little bit more life. But I'll go through the entirety of the track, the performance, and just 2 BPM here, BPM there, up and down, add a little give, so it's not so gridded and so steady and stale. With a real drummer, you're going to have that. You're going to have the speed up and slow down.
Not quite my tempo. It's all good. No worries. Here we go. You're rushing. Dragging just a hair. Rushing.
God knows I've played with so many drummers that speed up and slow down. I'm not talking about that kind of excessive fluctuation.
Now, are you a rusher? Or are you a dragger? Or are you gonna be on my fucking time?
Just a little here and there. And then that ties back into offsetting notes when I was talking about velocities. You offset the note so it falls just a little before the beat or a little after, the inconsistencies. And these kind of things will help your performance feel more real. I'm a real boy! It'll have that human feel, the push-pull, the dynamics, all of it. I think that's all I've got for you today. If you happen to have learned something, leave a comment, let me know. If you have another suggestion of how to make programmed MIDI drums sound more human and realistic, drop that down in the comments. I would love to hear it. I plan on doing more videos like this in the future, more tutorials, reviews, maybe even some sessions of me tracking. Who knows what the future holds. So like, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. I'm not sure that it's gonna do any good whatsoever because YouTube is YouTube. Stupid! Thank you so much for coming by, for watching the video. I hope you learned something. Until next time, take a chance.